Elio guys, and welcome back. And in today's old video, we're going to be taking a look at the account of a longtime subscriber to the channel / supporter of the channel, and his account goes by the name of Rias. Now Rias claims he's been watching the videos, but after you guys see his whole account review, I want you guys to leave in the comments below if you think he's actually been watching the videos, because my take on it is he may watch them, but he might find my voice just annoying, so he puts it on mute. So the information I might dish out may be basically null and void. But let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright, so this is Rias' account here, and let's first take a look at the gem quality, because there's a couple of Astromon in particular that I wanted to point out here. And I will say that overall your gem quality, at least in my opinion, is perfectly fine. A lot of your mons have a good balance of like their stat distribution. There's nothing that seemed off, at least from what I could tell. I didn't go through every single Astromon, so if there is something that's off, well, you probably hidden it on a Astromon that might be totally worthless in my eyes, but could be useful to someone else. So if I missed it, well, you caught me slipping here, but I do believe that I have caught you slipping, Rias. Like, for example, your Wet Acer here. Your Wet Acer is Evo 3, right? You have her fully enhanced, and then I took a look at her gem. So she's on the gem of armor set. There's a crit rate gem right there, nothing spectacular. An HP gem with some crit rate and resist, okay. And then another HP gem. Why is she on HP crit rate when she is a courageous striker, my dude? I was like, what is going on here? That was just, to me, just absolutely just bizarre. I wanted to point that out here. Maybe you're compromising just because this is a set, and you're like, well, she does get added crit damage. Yes, that is true, she gets added crit damage, but at the cost of literal damage, because her attack is sitting at like a whopping 4k, which some Nat 5s out there have like a base of that amount, pretty much. Like, I don't know what's going on here, my dude. We really need to talk about that. There's another Astromon in particular that I wanted to bring up since you are rocking her, and that is going to be the lovely baby girl Dark Wildfang. Honestly, I think this is a great example out there for players who have Dark Wildfang and want to build her up. He has her on a Gem of Zeal set right here. We can take a look at the gems. There's an attack gem with 31% resist, a little bit of crit rate. He has another attack gem with some crit rate up there too. And then he has another attack gem with some resist. Nothing extravagant in terms of the subs or anything, but look at that. She's sitting at 68% in terms of her resist. Her crit rate is 50%. She's fully booked up and of course super evoed. And in terms of investment, that really isn't that much. I mean, getting a Zeal set is part of the issue, but overall investment is very, very low for a very hard-hitting Astromon. And we can see here for enhancements too. There's crit damage, crit rate, crit resist, and purely attack. So while it's a very frail baby girl, she will definitely get the job done. Like, hopefully someone else on the battlefield will totally die. But I've never seen a Dark Arthur on Pugilist. I'm not sure why he's on Pugilist. Once again, I tell you guys, especially if I'm going to check out your account, like, you putting gems on the Astromon is just bait for me to look at it. So this could be a scenario where he puts something on his Astromon just to fill out slots and he doesn't really use them. But I don't know, I'm finding it a little bit difficult to believe that you don't use your Dark Arthur even though he's ultimate evo. Like, I understand you could take it off and pay a little gold penalty to do it, but if you weren't going to use him in the first place, then I wouldn't have gems on him anyways. But I was like, dude's on a Pugilist set? You know, there's an HP gem right here, a defense gem, and then an HP gem. I've never seen a Dark Arthur on a Pugilist set ever in my life. And the whole thing I wanted to bring up about this in particular to you guys is that Pugilist sets, at least in one man's opinion, it's not fact, it's purely opinion, so don't come for me, they work best when you put them on mons that are able to get to their 5-star skill fairly quickly. Mons that have morale boost and stuff of that nature on them, so you can spam their 5-star skill, meaning you get a lot more chances for your Pugilist set to proc and hopefully work. Putting them on Astromon that rely on, you know, SP gain from an outside source to do that isn't bad if you have another Astromon like, what is it, Dark Hana or like Cupid to supply them with SP. But if they inherently, you know that they don't get any orbs in terms of PvP, in my opinion, it's just a waste. So I just wanted to bring that up to you. But yeah, once again, overall, gem quality is fine. I will say too that I noticed in a lot of your leech sets that some of your Ashramon have like an HP gem or a defense gem on that slot. So it looks like you're kind of compromising in terms of your leech sets just to essentially fill out that set. And that's not a very good idea because you're literally just missing out on tons of damage. Let me see if I can find an example here because we do have it all pulled up. Maybe it's your Poseidon. Okay, so he has a Gem of Healer set on him. It's not a leech set, but it's HP defense, and that was crit rate. There's literally no damage here, and I'm just like, why? I mean, I understand that his resist is low. Maybe you're not using him at this point in time, because we will be taking a look at your Titans teams here, but to me, that 10% HP gain is nothing compared to the amount of damage that you're losing out on him. Those are my suggestions. You know, try not to compromise in terms of your leech sets, especially even though this is a Gem of Healer set, because it doesn't make any sense to me to see like a Courageous Striker rocking crit rate HP defense. It's like, what is that going to do? Absolutely nothing. Alright, and then next up you wanted me to take a look at your PvP defense team because you felt fine with your offense team, so I will leave no comments with that here. But let's go ahead and pull the squad up. So you're rocking a Wet Wild Fang, there's a Fire Victoria, a Dark Sea Star, then a Light Odin paired up with a Dark Purse Hidden. I'm perfectly fine with the Dark Purse Hidden, that's what I personally use myself here. But this team composition is great for like, you know, mid-range players that are just getting their toes wet into PvP and are kind of trying to boost up their gem quality and basically, you know, get some type of footing in PvP. I think this is great. The issue though with this is that there comes a point, especially higher up, where if you don't have the right combination of kind of a mixed bag team like this, you're gonna run into big problems because, I'll tell you, so Wet Wild Fang does have the Crisis Aversion leader skill, which obviously lowers the enemy's crit rate. But when you go into the match, what people are going to target the most may end up being your Light Odin. Like, they're going to try and take her out as soon as possible because Wet Wild Fang isn't going to do any damage. Fire Victoria isn't going to do any damage. Dark Sea Star may do some damage, but if they hit her with a defense down or something of that nature, or if they have just lethal strike in general, well, that's 2 of your units already gone. There's no threats right there, especially if they end up killing Dark Sea Star, Dark Purse comes out, all of your DPS is gone. So in terms of balancing like your defensive team, it's important that like when you're placing these mons here that you kind of think of what else can they do in the event that one of these go away. Because depending on who you're fighting, especially with the whole Purse Primo Festival that happened recently, there's literally not much that you can do in certain situations. But my personal suggestion is just to go ahead and drop this mixed bag team and kind of focus on one element, which I do believe is going to be your dark team that I would probably recommend. Because light is fine, but you know, people run dark comps and they're going to hit like a butt cheek on a stick on your light mons, and that may not be a very good time for you here. But I did see you have a Dark Hana, which is great with that discernment lead to help lower the enemy's resistance if you need it. No Dark Cupid, which would have been lovely unless I missed him. I also believe that you have a Dark Valk. Yep, you do have a Dark Valk here, and then you know, the last slot can pretty much be whoever that you want it to be. I honestly would not suggest a DPS though, because like someone like Dark Wild Fang is just going to die. Dark Yuki could be useful there, but outside of SP Siphon, I don't know. I feel like she's not that big of a threat in terms of PvP unless you just straight up ignore her. So filling in a slot with maybe like Dark Succubus for this point in time, or if you want to throw in your Dark Arthur after you have kind of revamped his gems, this might be a better team composition for you. I'm not saying that it's guaranteed to work. I'm personally running a Dark Mono team and I don't have any problems like staying within challengers regardless of if we're in a Nat 3 league or not, but that's just dependent on my mons that I'm using and also my gem quality. I'm not saying that I'm the greatest at PvP either, however, it works. So getting these mons kind of built up, making sure their gems are topped up too, is definitely going to help you in that aspect. But yeah, if you're losing a lot with the team that you have already, my suggestion is try monotype, because the harder it is for them to kind of take out your mons and you have all of this crowd control going on, or you have all of these tanky mons going on, you know, the higher probability they're just not going to even bother fighting your team because it's going to take too long, or you know, if they fight your team, you're just going to lose anyways. That's just how it goes. But I definitely hope that advice helps here. And then you also want an insight into possibly running a team for B15. If you're perfectly fine with doing B11, then my honest advice is just stick to B11. But if you want to clear it out just to be able to be like, you know what, I cleared out B15, then there's a couple of issues with this team. I tried it already. Some of your Drakas, I believe, are on Siphon set, while other Drakas are on a Ruin set, which isn't great because they need to be on Siphon if you're going to be doing B15, because you want those monsters to die as soon as possible. You want to make sure that Draka is just going off with all of that puncture action and not really delaying it by a turn or two, because that next turn could be, you know, rest in peace to the squad here. So my suggestion, if you want to do it like this, is dropping 2 of these, keeping your 2 Drakas that you have that are on a Siphon set, if they are on a Siphon set within the team. And we're just going to go ahead and do it old school, man. We're going to get like a good old sapper here if you have a dedicated one. We're just going to pick Water Miho just for, you know, time's sake and having an example here. And then honestly, I would recommend another unit like Water Hana, I believe, is a great additional unit to have because of her resistance down, and I also believe resilience up there. So you do want to lead with discernment just because it helps lowers the resistance. And the main issue is just that the golem resists a whole bunch of sap, so having that leader skill is super useful, and I'm not sure if I can find anything at this point in time. But I did see that you had a Dark Vamp, so let's say that you built your Dark Vamp even though he's not currently built, and then you drop Miho, and we can try and find us a discernment lead. You also have Dark Hana too. I mean, you could throw that baby girl in there and see if she does something and roll with that. I'm not saying that it's going to work off the top of my head here because I would try it, but your Dark Vamp isn't built, but this could definitely lead you down the right path. So a team like this should work out for you. Don't quote me on it, feel free to test it yourself here, but something of this nature should do you perfectly fine. It may not be the fastest clear in terms of B15, but just to have it cleared out is always a good feeling. And once again, I've been running B15 and B11. There's not much difference outside of B11 being a lot faster, so I just kind of revert it back to B11 just for time's sake, because time is money, and we know in MSL, time is also gems. Now let's go over here and take a look at your Titan squad and see what you're working with here. Looks like Region Defense is up for you. You also mentioned Dimension Defense, and you guys know I have been slacking on that quite a lot. But I do know that a guide is out, which I had like talked about a long time ago, or I had shared a long time ago in the community tab. So I actually plan to sit down and give that a good reading and seeing what type of teams I can come up with what the guy has provided, just to help up my damage and honestly just be a little bit more useful to you guys in terms of that aspect instead of ignoring it as long as I have. I'm not saying I'm going to be in Apophis expert. I'm just saying that in terms of understanding the game, it's probably a good idea here. But let's see if we can go ahead and switch this over into practice mode instead. So slide over here to practice mode and see what you're working with in terms of your team compositions. Alright, so let's take a look at your lovely fire team. I don't see a fire team at all. Unless I'm missing something, I don't see a fire team at all. So hopefully I can kind of get together a team for you in terms of that aspect here. Moving on to water. Looks like water is a work in progress. I'm not sure here. Okay, so this looks like it may be your actual water team. You have 2 water Sparkets, a water Harley, and a water Draka on the left side. You may be using that water Sparket for that HP lead, but I do believe that damage has told us that that is not the play of the game. So yeah, I would definitely kind of revamp this list, and I would just show it in a video at the very end, because yeah, this is unacceptable, my dude. And you're in math symbol? Do I need to go ahead and hit up Odin and tell Odin to cuss you out, man? Absolutely disrespectful. Moving on to your light team. Yeah, I'm not sure what's going on here either. Not much effort at all has been put into Titans, my dude. Like, okay, I understand. I'm not a big Titans expert. I don't know everything in the game. I don't claim to know everything in the game. But you could at least put together some type of wish-washy Illuminati type team going on here. Like, I'm not asking for much. I'm just asking for, you know, a team with courageous strikers on the right side and some debuffers and healers on the left. That's it. Give me something to work with. So I'll leave my own personal suggestions for your teams at the end of the video. If you get other Astromon, feel free to put those mons in instead. But yeah, let's go ahead and keep it moving, you guys. Alright, so we've taken a look at Rias' account here, you guys, and as always, I'll kind of leave like my ideal Titan situation for your specific team, Rias, of what you could use. And if you guys have similar mods to him, then feel free to try these guys out here. But warning, big warning right here, I did not like test the timing on these because I don't have time like that. This isn't my account, it's your job. I've delivered the Astromon that you could hypothetically use in a Titan situation, but in terms of timing for like exposed weakness, making sure heals and stuff like that go off when they need to is going to be all on you. And of course you have to keep in mind too, basically the gem quality of your Astromon here. Now with these Titan setups, which should be popping up on the screen as I'm talking here, some of these Astromon you may not have, and that's important because they are obtainable. So make sure you kind of work towards getting those if you haven't already. Maybe you have them in storage and I didn't really check them out at that point in time. But you know, don't feel like whatever I give you guys is like set in stone, because you could always pull something literally right after you've seen this video. You could pull something down the road, or there might just be a slightly better team composition that I might have missed. I mean, I've done my due diligence here and tried to provide you with basically templates of different Astromon that you can use here, but I'm only working with what you have and pretty much in a hypothetical situation here. And I do want to make one note for like your Dark Titans team. I didn't really see any Astromon in terms of your Dark Mons for hitting Light Titan other than Dark Eve, so you could play around with the Dark team and kind of make it more focused with Dark Eve getting the damage off instead of your Light Siegfried on the right lane for hitting Light Titan. But other than that, I mean, you just have to work with what you have. And it's not really that uncommon for people not being able to hit Light and Dark Titans efficiently. You can still do a whole bunch of damage. Somebody like Luca, for example, can probably out damage me in terms of Light Titan, and I have 2 Dark Endras. But you know, I digress here. But hopefully you found this information very helpful for you. If you guys haven't considered subscribing, then go ahead and do so already. And if you want your own personal account review done, I can't promise that I'll get it done immediately, but I will promise you that it will be done at some point in time here. But yeah, you guys, that's pretty much it. Feel free to leave any comments below about what you guys think about this account or any possible tweaks that Rias could make. And hopefully I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace out.